I found out from TMZ literally 2 hours ago that I have been subpoenaed. I'm not crying, you're crying. You were a bad person. Truly, that was that from the bottom of my heart. I think you and Ryan are bad people. There is nobody involved. Nobody has ever been involved in making me come to that conclusion.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds figured subpoenaing Candace Owens would shield their fragile empire, but instead, it blew up right in their faces.
With this headline, it says that Perez Hilton and me were subpoenaed, and then the ... working with Baldoni?
Candace Owens exposed their staged PR stunt, revealing that Blake had leaked the subpoena to TMZ before it was even served. Shockingly, Candace had barely mentioned Blake in 5 years, and now all the lies are unraveling.
That's what it is, a fishing expedition, because she wants to know now who's talking trash about her. Wake up, sweetheart. It's everyone. Everyone dislikes.
You know Blake, the one who built her entire persona as America's perfect sweetheart, married to the internet's so-called funny man, Ryan Reynolds. Don't worry, we'll get to his tragic comedy routine in a second. Blake thought she could march into court, sling big legal words, play the victim, and somehow convince everyone she was being targeted by a grand conspiracy of internet trolls and YouTubers. But the universe had other plans.
Tell me, okay, my lawyer, oh, you're not involved in this lawsuit. Haha, joke's on you, Noah. Joke's on you, because now you've got to read by subpoena and figure out what happens next. I mean, this is crazy times, you guys. It's like we're living in a simulation.
Enter Candace Owens, the last person Blake wanted involved, because Candace isn't following their fake Hollywood script. The moment Blake's legal team tried to flex, Candace hit back with receipts, so embarrassing they could make Ryan Reynolds' last 5 Deadpool promos look downright graceful in comparison.
Perez Hilton, Candace Owens, and Andy Senior have all been subpoenaed to turn over any and all communications with Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer Party.
Let's break it down, because the collapse of Blake's so-called coordinated smear campaign is pure comedy gold. First, she's been claiming that people like Justin Baldoni and Wayfair Studios teamed up to ruin her image. Yeah, right, Blake, because your image was spotless before this mess. Forget that her awkward, robotic interviews and diva reputation were already prime material for the internet's roasting machine.
Going to allow her to have access to every text message and email pertaining to her and Ryan Reynolds and Wayfarer Studios because she watched me live say, now that I'm interested in this story, which my interest began on January 25th.
Apparently, this whole fiasco began because Blake believes some shadowy internet alliance is out to get her. According to her lawsuit, Justin Baldoni, the same Baldoni with a $400 million countersuit in motion, is allegedly coordinating with every content creator, journalist, and random person with Wi-Fi to sabotage her career. And because accountability doesn't exist in Blake Lively's vocabulary, instead of admitting her public flops are self-inflicted, she blames the entire internet.
The judge's order earlier this month allowing Blake to take discovery in order to uncover the alleged lengths, if any, that Baldoni's side may have gone to in working with notable anti-Blake content creators as part of the alleged smear campaign.
But it doesn't stop there. Blake is dragging everyone into this delusion. She hired Melissa Nathan and Jennifer Al for crisis PR, already a sign of desperation, and even roped in some random Reddit guy from Texas named Jared, because of course every unpopular celebrity moment must trace back to some internet stranger. The hilarious part? Blake's paranoia is Olympic level, demanding emails, texts, and documents about herself, including conversations about her actual hair products. Imagine obsessing over your shampoo mentions as if they're part of a smear campaign. It's pure delusion, a full celebrity meltdown, and screams, I married Ryan Reynolds, so clearly I thrive on bad decisions.
Obviously, she knows for a fact that we are not going to allow her to have access to every text message and email pertaining to her and Ryan Reynolds and Wayfarer Studios because she watched me.
Ryan Reynolds' involvement is peak comedy. The guy who built a brand as the internet's funny, relatable husband is secretly coordinating TMZ PR cleanup for Blake's courtroom disaster, tweeting jokes about Aviation Gene and Deadpool while his teams hustle behind the scenes faster than he can pitch another overpriced mobile plan. Watching him spin this mess is more painful than his last rom-com flop. Meanwhile, Candace Owens steals the show by exposing how she learned about Blake's sneaky subpoena. Not through official channels, of course, but from TMZ, the celebrity gossip machine masquerading as journalism, yet operating like a caffeine-fueled reality TV producer.
Hilton, Owens, and Senior have all used their sizable digital platforms to discuss case developments, and the trio's commentary has largely hated on Blake's claims while propping up Baldoni's side.
Exactly. Candace Owens gets blindsided at 2:11 p.m. Eastern by TMZ, who's already asking her PR team for comment on a subpoena she hasn't even seen. It's peak absurdity. Instead of a formal court notice, she's getting scoops from the same outlet that reports on Kardashian baby names like it's breaking international news. The whole thing reads like a dark comedy of errors.
Out to see if Ms. Owens has any comment on being subpoenaed in the lively Baldoni case. Thank you for your time.
Exactly. Within just 10 minutes, Candace's team fired back, calling out the stunt for what it really was, a premeditated PR performance. You can almost picture Blake's team coordinating it over green juices and frantic texts to Ryan, thinking they'd pulled off some masterclass in control. Instead, it blew up in their faces.
Rachel wrote back within 10 minutes and wrote to him, "Hi, Ryan. Thank you. Can you send a copy of the subpoena to us? Candace has not been served. We cannot comment if we have not seen what she..."
Exactly. That's the comedic peak. 6 minutes later, and TMZ drops a full-on hit piece, painting Candace like she's leading a personal crusade against Blake. The timeline alone screams PR stunt, because there's no possible way real reporting, editing, and fact-checking could happen that fast. It's like watching someone try to bake a 5-layer cake in under 10 minutes. Messy, impossible, and kind of hilarious.
This has not been served. We cannot comment if we have not seen what she will be served. Like, obviously, somebody gave this, and by somebody, I mean, clearly this is a Leslie Sloan, Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds PR strategy I've been telling you for a long time.
Exactly. Candace didn't mince words. She called the stunt what it was. Fake, sloppy, and orchestrated. And yeah, TMZ playing fast and loose with reporting just proves how far Hollywood will bend the narrative. Meanwhile, Ryan's over there grinning like a cartoon dad, tweeting Deadpool quips while quietly running PR ops behind the scenes. It's peak look over here, nothing to see energy, and the audience isn't buying it.
By the way that you bullied Justin Baldoni. Like, we read it and we feel passionate about this case, and we're teaming up in the way that every parent and mother and woman and child that has been following this just wants to see justice brought to Justin.
Exactly. The grand conspiracy claim crumbles the second you apply common sense. The internet isn't coordinating. It's just reacting to months of overly polished, performative PR. Blake and Ryan built this perfect life facade, and now it's backfiring spectacularly. Meanwhile, the desperation shines through, leaking subpoenas, orchestrating media hits, spinning narratives, yet Candace Owens is there calling out every single misstep. It's like watching a reality TV show implode in real time.
So first and foremost, right off the bat, you should know what they're saying is stupid. They're putting in this piece, Popcorned Planet and Candace have been covering this lawsuit, and they have not been favorable to Blake Lively. Okay, so?
Exactly. It's like a Hollywood slow-motion car crash, and Candace is the wrecking ball swinging through every carefully curated facade. Blake's fairy tale image? Collapsing. Ryan's Deadpool shtick? Suddenly painfully irrelevant in the face of real-world accountability. Every leaked subpoena, every staged media hit, they all just magnify the cracks. And the best part? The receipts don't lie. Candace didn't just call it out. She exposed it live, turning their perfectly controlled narrative into chaos in real time. It's messy, it's satisfying, and it's exactly the kind of unfiltered fallout people live for.
Now, I've received my subpoena from Blake Lively today. I'll tell you what is in it, because in my opinion, she's kind of admitting that she cannot prove that there was a smear campaign.
Exactly. It's peak celebrity paranoia. A single heart eyes emoji from 2019 becomes evidence of some grand internet conspiracy in Blake's eyes. Meanwhile, Candace isn't just laughing it off. She's airing the actual messages for millions to see, showing how flimsy this whole narrative really is. It's like watching someone build an entire criminal case out of glitter, sparkly, dramatic, but completely useless. Blake's obsession with controlling the story is honestly more theatrical than any scripted Netflix drama she starred in.
Hiding something. Something must be hidden because they still believe that the public is still stupid to comprehend what's happening here. This is effectively a PR strategy. Of course, we are going to say, we're not giving up all the people that gave us information. She knows that I have a source.
Exactly. Blake's whole internet conspiracy against me angle collapses under the tiniest bit of scrutiny. Candace didn't even acknowledge her for years, literally zero interactions, so the idea of a coordinated, long-term smear is pure fantasy. And when Blake did make headlines, it wasn't because of some secret plot. It was her own behavior on camera. Treating journalists like crap and expecting the world to still cheer? That's self-sabotage 101. The irony is delicious. She's so busy playing victim, she's the one doing the actual damage.
So what are you trying to prove here? If there's a smear campaign happening against you now? Yeah, we all read your words. We read your messages. We read your Khaleesi Dragons, and we're kind of sickened by the way that you bullied Justin Baldoni.
Exactly. Blake's whole internet conspiracy against me angle collapses under the tiniest bit of scrutiny. Candace didn't even acknowledge her for years, literally zero interactions, so the idea of a coordinated, long-term smear is pure fantasy. And when Blake did make headlines, it wasn't because of some secret plot. It was her own behavior on camera. Treating journalists like crap and expecting the world to still cheer? That's self-sabotage 101. The irony is delicious. She's so busy playing victim, she's the one doing the actual damage.
Abide by your subpoena as it pertains to any time before you filed your lawsuit, but you are not getting access to 10,000 emails for your fishing expedition so you can find out who leaked to me about Scott Swift. That's ridiculous.
Exactly. Candace isn't falling for the intimidation tactic. Blake's fishing expedition for 10,000+ emails is textbook overreach, especially when it targets anonymous tips and violates standard source protections. But Candace drew a clear line. Anything after the lawsuit? Nope, not handing it over. Blake gets zero access to that flood of info people sent in once they saw through the Hollywood polish. Meanwhile, she's probably too busy stressing over Reddit chatter about shampoo to realize she's playing herself.
Feminists are mean. It's just something I've noticed. These modern feminists are mean to other women. So I covered it, 5 minutes of all of 2024, and she thinks that I was part of some inside baseball smear campaign against her. I mean, this is wacky. This is totally...
Let's talk about the greasy PR machine fueling this dumpster fire, Ryan Reynolds and TMZ. Anyone thinking Ryan wasn't involved clearly hasn't been paying attention. TMZ's reporting reads like it was drafted by Blake's assistant after 6 espressos and a nervous breakdown. The hit pieces mirrored Blake's talking points perfectly, right down to the wild theories about some shadowy anti-Blake alliance plotting world domination. Candace Owens roasted that narrative to ashes, calling out TMZ as nothing more than a mouthpiece for overpaid publicists, and she's right. They framed her as some villain in a coordinated smear campaign fueled by pure fanfiction. Meanwhile, Blake and Ryan, sitting on a combined fortune of over $400 million, are melting down like insecure influencers panicking over mean Reddit comments. You can buy designer gowns, private jets, even Ryan's gin company, but apparently common sense isn't included in the package. Blake is dragging innocent people into this mess too. YouTuber Andy Senior from Popcorn Planet got pulled into the drama, despite zero evidence linking him to Baldoni or Candace. Logic left the building the moment Blake decided that internet criticism equals criminal conspiracy. Watching rich, fragile celebrities play detective while their carefully curated image disintegrates in real time is something else. The desperation is real. Blake's entire reputation, the polished Instagram aesthetic, the Vogue-approved power couple image, it's cracking. You can hear it in every TMZ leak, every ridiculous subpoena demand, every panicked interview where Blake tries to convince the world she's a helpless victim instead of an overhyped actress whose own behavior made her look bad. Meanwhile, Ryan Reynolds, the self-proclaimed king of witty Twitter posts, hides behind the scenes, letting his PR team do the dirty work. The same guy who built a brand as a cool, relatable dad is now pulling strings like a second-rate Hollywood puppet master. It's genuinely tragic watching him fall from Deadpool to desperate damage control specialist for Blake's spiraling brand. What makes this even better is how badly Blake's smear campaign theory falls apart under basic logic. She claims the internet turned against her in some grand conspiracy, but in reality, people roasted her and Ryan for months because their curated image is faker than Ryan's skincare ads. No elaborate plot needed, just public opinion catching up with entitled celebrities. The desperation shows at every level. Blake's PR team leaks a subpoena to TMZ before it's even delivered. They scramble to push a false narrative through headlines faster than Ryan can cash another Netflix check. Candace Owens exposes every sloppy, staged, insecure move they make, live and unfiltered. Candace aired her own messages in front of millions to prove Blake's conspiracy theory is garbage. The only previous mention Candace ever made of Blake was in 2019, a heart eyes emoji on Blake's engagement ring photo. That's it. Between 2019 and August 2024, Candace never mentioned Blake.
Zero. Nada.
So unless she was conspiring in complete silence for 5 years, Blake's idea of a long-term plot is as fake as Ryan Reynolds pretending he's relatable on Twitter. When Candace finally did comment, it was a single 5-minute news segment in August 2024 covering Blake being condescending toward journalist Kirsten Flaw. Not a deep state smear campaign, just Blake's viral interview making her look bad. Treat reporters poorly on camera, and no one needs to sabotage you. You sabotage yourself. Candace called Blake's fishing expedition exactly what it is: intimidation. Blake demanded over 10,000 emails, many containing anonymous tips from people who saw through the Hollywood facade, violating every basic rule of journalist source protection.
Candace drew the line.
Anything after Blake filed the lawsuit, not a word would be handed over. Blake gets no access to the flood of info people sent once they realized Hollywood royalty isn't squeaky clean. Blake probably thinks she's mastering journalism while obsessing over Reddit posts about her shampoo. Meanwhile, the TMZ-Ryan combo operates like a well-oiled propaganda machine. TMZ's hit pieces arrive pre-chewed, edited, framed, and aligned perfectly with Blake's narrative. Candace shredded it, exposing the absurdity. Blake's coordinated smear campaign crumbles under scrutiny. The supposed secret alliance, the shadowy forces plotting against her, it's all fiction. What's real is Blake's and Ryan's desperate attempt to weaponize media and silence criticism. The irony? The more she tries to control the story, the more obvious the cracks. Each subpoena, each leaked email, each staged headline digs the hole deeper. Ryan clings to his Deadpool shtick like it's the last joke in the playbook, but it can't save Blake from the collapse. This isn't a smear campaign. It's karma, long overdue. Treat people like pawns, manipulate, bully, and silence, and eventually the curtain is pulled back. Blake Lively's fragile empire is crumbling, and no TMZ headline or overpriced PR consultant can stitch it together. The situation isn't confined to Hollywood. When Blake thought she could control the headlines with subpoenas and fluff pieces, global pressure intensified. French President Macron's team sent Candace threatening letters. Even Meghan Markle jumped in, filming herself reading bedtime stories as curated content for her children, staged relatability, while Blake's team spirals over Reddit mentions of shampoo. Candace connected the dots. Meghan, Blake, Bridgetette, they're the same elitist clique, insulated by fame, obsessed with image, allergic to accountability. The internet, however, is no longer buying it. Real journalists, critical thinkers, and public scrutiny are exposing the truth. Blake's so-called smear campaign is exposed as a lie. Bombshell receipts dropped by Brian Friedman, Justin Baldoni's lawyer, revealed Blake's behind-the-scenes bullying. Public opinion turned against her organically. No conspiracy, no cabal, just facts. Blake wasn't the polished feminist goddess Vogue paid her to portray. She was the one orchestrating attacks, pulling strings, and now scrambling to play the helpless victim. The mask slipped. The empire wobbled. And Candace Owens? She's the wrecking ball ensuring everyone sees in the end. Blake's carefully curated world of Instagram-perfect activism, red carpet glamour, and Deadpool-adjacent humor collapsed under its own weight. The more she tried to control, manipulate, and intimidate, the faster it crumbled. Ryan Reynolds may have once been the charming, witty sidekick, but here he's just part of a failing PR strategy, desperately trying to keep a house of cards upright. The only thing left standing? Candace Owens, the facts, and the public watching the entire spectacle unravel in real time.
That they are feminists and that they love women actually treat other women like crap. And Blake Lively is known to say, I'm a feminist. She's using that as an argument in this lawsuit. And she treated this journalist like...
And Candace? She shut that lie down with receipts. Blake wants to talk coordinated smear campaigns. Let's talk whistleblowers instead, like Scott Swift, Taylor Swift's dad, tipping off the press because he's fed up with Blake and Ryan's carefully staged empire. That's not a conspiracy. That's what happens when people close to you finally get tired of your nonsense and start spilling the tea. Blake's fantasy that Reddit users, YouTubers, and podcasters are part of some global anti-Blake cabal is laughable. As laughable as Ryan Reynolds thinking he's some marketing genius while his wife's legal strategy collapses into a public joke. Blake's entire legal fishing expedition is one long obsession with controlling her narrative. She isn't seeking justice. She's trying to salvage her image. That's why her subpoenas bizarrely demand texts about hair products, marriage scandals, Reddit posts, and literally anything that could make her look bad. How fragile do you have to be to subpoena people over gossip about your shampoo line? Only Blake Lively and her PR-fueled ego could be this unhinged.
November 20th of 2024. It would follow that if you're going to subpoena people, you're going to need messages that took place before you filed the lawsuit saying that it already happened, but look what they're doing.
And the more Blake pushes, the more absurd it looks. Her meltdown is wrecking her reputation faster than any YouTuber could. Subpoenas over hair product memes. That's where we're at. Meanwhile, Candace Owens stands untouchable, armed with facts, timelines, receipts, and the ultimate defense: common sense. Blake's latest moves have backfired so spectacularly, even TMZ can't spin it into a win. Her empire of staged Instagram perfection, red carpet rehearsals, and forced power couple selfies with Ryan is cracking wide open. The Hollywood fairy tale is exposed as nothing more than insecure, desperate spin from two celebrities who can't handle criticism. Ryan Reynolds, hiding behind Deadpool snark and aviation gin ads, watches as his wife's legal team torches their credibility. Candace keeps reminding everyone, there's no secret anti-Blake alliance, no coordinated army of trolls lurking online. Just passionate reporting, real audiences sick of celebrity hypocrisy, and a growing refusal to let Hollywood elites weaponize wealth, lawyers, and PR agencies to silence the truth. Blake's next legal move? Another staged leak. Another TMZ exclusive with anonymous sources blaming everyone but her for the mess she created. The internet's already laughing. The receipts are out, the facade's broken, and Blake and Ryan's image of invincible celebrities is in shambles. Blake underestimated how fast her fake PR machine could crumble once real receipts hit the internet. Tossing subpoenas around like confetti won't erase how ridiculous her behavior has been. You can't sell a helpless victim story when your brand is built on control, privilege, and staged magazine covers. Blake and Ryan have spent years manufacturing the perfect power couple image, hand-picked interviews, cheesy Instagram captions, and relatable jokes about their marriage. But real pressure exposes the cracks. Blake spiraling, Ryan missing from the front lines, TMZ acting as their personal PR puppet for disaster control. Watching Ryan sit silent while hiding behind failing aviation gin ads is comically pathetic. The same man who roasts celebrities on Twitter vanishes when his wife's hypocrisy explodes. Maybe he's busy rehearsing another cringe campaign for one of his mediocre ventures. Watching him sit silently as Blake fumbles every legal move is peak coward energy. Blake keeps proving how obsessed she is with silencing criticism. Demanding emails about her shampoo, subpoenaing people over Reddit gossip, she's made it clear this isn't about justice. It's about silencing anyone who questions her influencer-level fairy tale. Her legal team has effectively become a glorified PR cleanup crew, patching damage caused by her own bad behavior. The most embarrassing part? The internet isn't buying it. Every staged TMZ leak, fake headline, and exaggerated narrative just makes her look more desperate. Blake isn't controlling the story. She is the story, and it's unraveling fast. Her brand, her lawsuit, her carefully curated fantasy image are collapsing under the weight of her own arrogance. The public is watching every second of the fallout, savoring the chaos. Blake's empire is cracking fast, and the next meltdown is likely already leaking behind the scenes. Subpoenas over gossip, PR stunts, and staged media hits have only accelerated her decline. Candace Owens continues to expose the truth, while Blake scrambles to maintain a facade of control. The illusion of power, perfection, and invulnerability is gone. This saga isn't just a legal disaster, it's a credibility war. The more Blake fights to manipulate the narrative, the more exposed she becomes. Her fantasy of invincible celebrity status is colliding with reality. Every staged leak, every fake legal threat, and every attempt to silence critics adds another crack to the veneer. Meanwhile, Ryan Reynolds, the man who built a career on charm and humor, disappears from the front lines, leaving the imploding image entirely in Blake's hands. The irony: the couple who thought they could control perception now finds the internet, journalists, and public opinion controlling them. Stay tuned. Blake Lively's empire is unraveling in real time. Every misstep, every subpoena, and every staged media stunt just feeds the narrative of desperation. The public isn't fooled. The receipts are out. The facade is crumbling. And as Blake tries to claw back control, she only proves that her carefully curated Hollywood fantasy was built on sand. Hit that subscribe button because the chaos isn't over, and watching it unfold is peak internet theater.